Hey everyone, Shannon here. Just wanted to send a quick video update of what the Lord's been doing in my life, my family's EquipChurch over this last couple of months. By the way, this isn't my new office. It'd be amazing, but no, this was so generously provided by Muskoka Bible Center for me to be able to spend a few days just fasting, praying, reading before we launch into next steps with the church plant. So let me just publicly say thank you to NBC. I'm not sure if they'll ever actually see this video, but very, very thankful for that. Anyway, um, I believe in my last prayer update, there was three things I specifically asked for everyone to be praying for. Let me just say thank you. Thank you for doing what you did, hitting your knees, bringing these prayers before the Lord, because He answered in amazing ways. Try to real quick kind of tell you about that. The association meeting to get their blessing. I spoke with number of churches. There's actually there's 12 churches in the association. I can't remember how many of those are represented. I believe 10. But to be honest, there was a lot of hesitation. We're not quite sure historically. We believe maybe 3 Feb churches have closed their doors in Peterborough over the last number of years, leaving one existing church. So Riverside is the only church in Feb. By the way, Kirk, the pastor there, has been over the top, encouraging, a great support. So very thankful for that. But again, there was hesitation with, hey, do we plant another church and risk another failure, another bad name for Fellowship Baptists in the Peterborough area? And so I just shared our heart, our story, what the Lord has been doing in calling our family to Peterborough specifically, preparing us to plant a church. Just sort of laid it on the table, and then we asked the men to spend a week and just pray about it, seek the Lord, and they came back unanimously with their blessing and affirmation. And so, again, thank you so much for praying for that. The Lord was truly in and through that whole process. Speaking of that kind of a thing, our partner church, this is a big deal to ask a church to sort of lay it on the line. To allow another church to plant underneath their charitable organization number, their insurance, things like that. Means setting up a bank account for us to be able to do the ins and outs through theirs. And we had Riverside Baptist in Huntsville, which was a church that was our home for many years as I was their assistant pastor, and then certainly over the last 5 or 6 years, it still felt like home. There's a closeness. It's been so great to see that relationship continue, and then just grow like this. And so this is a huge deal for this church. So for Riverside, this is their 75th year anniversary. And as part of their celebration of that, they decided, hey, why don't we stand with the McConnells and become their partner church and help them launch out in Peterborough, the city 2.5 hours away. And so God bless them. Honestly, I'm praying that God will bless them for this, that this will be a great, encouraging experience for them. I know we needed it. I'm so thankful for not just a church, but a church that we have loved, and the whole blood, sweat, and tears kind of thing. We've experienced that for Riverside and with Riverside, and so just so thankful. Really looking forward to seeing what the Lord will do in the days ahead. Thank you for praying for our family. We did actually have a bit of a not a bit of a big deal health scare, and so I won't get into all of that for the sake of time and such. But after all the testing, the appointments, the ultrasounds, whatever, thankful to say that the Lord has led us through that. Like I mentioned earlier in the other update, my family is really my biggest area of vulnerability and weakness. If the enemy is going to get me, it's probably going to be through my family. And so, yeah, thank you for praying. So the Lord has blessed us in an amazing way that way, protecting my wife specifically. And we moved to Peterborough. That is a whole other thing in itself, a huge deal, big move. We got our 4 girls, of course, and they have, in their own ways, been seeing and celebrating what the Lord is doing and helping make Peterborough their home. So we've been, doing the scooter thing. We visited the park. We've been visiting the zoo. My parents love our kids. They're a little bit crazy in the sense that they went and bought goats and bunnies and kind of turned their home into this like miniature farm. So the girls are loving that. They're chasing goats around the yard and stuff, and so really cool to see, even in those sort of silly ways. How God's been taking care of the hearts of my girls. And so, if you would just continue to pray, we do still need to make new friends, new connections, certainly for the church, core group, and so on, but also just for my girls to find their place with friends. Get into some sports and some clubs, and we're still trying to figure out the school thing, but it's a big deal to move, and so it's been great. I think about as smooth as it could be. A lot of work, but it was great. So thank you. Real quick, before we got to the core group stage, we really felt like it was important to get the blessing of the association and then connect with the local church leaders and let them know, hey, we're the new church in town. Let's build some good relationship bridges. Let's leave the communication lines open so that we can connect. If anything comes up, we already have a familiarity between us. If people come to our core group from your church, let's talk about it, right? And vice versa. And so did a Google search. There's about 62 churches came up in that. Done my best to connect with them so far. Sent out this mass email, and then have been trying to connect for coffees and such. And honestly, that's been amazing. Usually church planters have this experience where churches are like, hey, we've already got so many churches here. The Lord's already working. We don't need another church. Why don't you jump in and help us with what we have? We haven't experienced that at all. And so just in the grace of these other churches, I'm just amazed, just blown away with guys just coming alongside of us saying, hey, Lord's brought 120,000 plus people to Peterborough. There's a lot of need here. We need another good Bible-believing, gospel-preaching. We need a good church. And so, another good church. And so why don't we, join arms? I'll help you get connected here. I guess there's this thing called the church in the city that I've been invited to. And so there's 25, 30 churches with this heart for the Lord making his name great in Peterborough. And so joining up with them and seeing where those relationships go from there. And so that's been great. We have two families already. Like I mentioned, we haven't went public in Peterborough yet, but we've the Lord just sort of connected the dots, and so we've had two families from other towns or cities that have connected with us and just said, hey, over the last year, the Lord has been working in our hearts, getting us ready for church planting, and then we saw a post of Harvest Muskoka praying and sending you off. And we just thought, hey, what is this about, right? So really neat to hear the stories of what God has been doing behind the scenes in people's lives. Of course he is bringing these connections with us. And so we have two families specifically right now that I know of that are praying about moving. They're looking at housing and schooling and such like that. So pretty serious about it. So please join with us in praying for them. Certainly before we can invite people to something, we need a something to invite them to. And so location has been a big thing. I'm excited for a future video. We're going to do a walkthrough of the building that we believe the Lord has brought us to. But if you want to, actually, if I can figure out how to put a picture on here, I'm going to work on that. I'll show you just a few clips of our family walking through the Mount. So it's the Mount St. Joseph. Still praying for God to make this clear, but it's seeming pretty clear. The details of this place is great. There's a great history here. It's a decommissioned Catholic church. Originally, it was a home for the nuns that moved over from a Paris nun group with a heart to help St. Joseph's Hospital be built. They just got this heart for the community, and that's carried on even though the building itself, the 134,000 square foot building, has been passed on to another organization. The heart is still there. There's a lot of ministry being done. They have this incredible 1930s chapel. I think it seats 250-ish people. It's just not being used for anything besides weddings. And so, again, God has brought us there. They were surprised that we even knew about the place, but God brought us through those doors. He's made some great connections relationally, and we're just working on the contracts on that right now. And so please pray. It's looking great. We have on-site storage. We have a whole kids wing, so security is amazing. Um, it's funny as we're giving the tour, the one lady said, "Hey, Baptists, you guys believe in immersion, right? Well, hey, we've got this pool that we're renovating. It's going to be a therapy pool. It's right in the building, so you can use that for your baptisms." So just even that is just funny. There's a wing that was renovated as low-income housing. So there's 43 families already living in the building itself. There's plans to build out more rental units and so on. There's offices being rented. There's groups that come in for things like dance academies and musicians. I think it's 1,400 musicians are connected to this building. So there's a lot of people coming in and out, and the Mount already has sort of accepted us as part of the family. They want to help us advertise, put signs up. Um, as you can tell, I'm pretty excited. There's so much that I want to share, but I don't want to make this video any longer. So thank you so much for joining with us in prayer. Just pray that you would continue to do so. Please pray for our family, for the church, for the Lord to be our foundation, but then also to help build the strong, healthy foundation of this church. Just pray that our family and this church would just continue to grow in our love and in our pursuit of Jesus. And so thank you for joining with us, for being part of our family. We love you. We're so thankful for you. Please send me any questions that you may have, and hopefully I'll get better at making these videos a little bit shorter in the future. God bless you.